According to the Glassnode, it appears that the belief of people in cryptocurrency has actually started to get a little bit optimistic. It's good, isn't it? Yeah, man. Everyone's pumped about crypto. Perfect time to reverse, in my opinion. With that being said, Jamie Dimon is still receiving a lot of heat. Now it's gone to Twitter, and everyone's like, you hypocrite. You're talking about cryptocurrency being bad, yet JP Morgan has paid in the excess of around $380 billion or million in fines across the board. So, yeah, it's a little bit contradictory when he starts slating cryptocurrency. But good news is that unemployment claims have actually come in sort of in line with expectations, but not too much. They wanted 221,000. It came in at 220. What does that mean? Well, it simply means that people are unemployed. And we need that because that sits in line with the Federal Reserve's flavor of increasing, decreasing interest rates. Today's live stream, guys, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. And why does Euro move up and crypto move down? Something that we're going to take into consideration in today's live. We're also going to have a look at a few altcoins. We're also going to dive into some aspects of the news just to see where we are right now with cryptocurrency, because everyone is now waiting for Bitcoin to just keep on going up. 48K is on the cards, 50K is on the cards, 60K is on the cards. But what will it do before it gets there? That's the one thing that not a lot of people tend to focus on. So with that being said, we're going to dive into the Bookmap. We're going to look at EXO Charts. We're going to dive into all of that madness, ladies and gentlemen. And that should give you enough information to make an informed decision as to whether or not you should buy Bitcoin. Let's have a conversation, guys. Here we go. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Anyway, what are you doing there, Tino? My God, this guy. So, what is happening? Good morning, traders. Good morning, holders. Good morning, people. Yes, this is very true. Tino, is the dollar more important than the bonds now? Is something changing? Well, look, what you've got to understand is when the markets go up, see the dollar, see the stock market like this. You've got stock market and you've got bonds. One is risky, one isn't, okay? And when I say one isn't, it means that it carries less risk, but there is a guarantee of payment at the end of the maturity of the bond, okay? There's no guarantee payment at the end of a term on holding a stock, for example, all right? It can shoot up, it can shoot down, the company could go bust. But with the bonds themselves, there is a guaranteed income, all right? What you're looking for as traders is to try and understand the auction between stock market and bonds. If the stock market's going up, it means investors are seeking risk. That means the bonds in principle will be coming down because not many people are favoring low risk investments. If the stock market goes down, you usually see the bonds market going up because people are favoring lower risk return. But sometimes you get the dollar going up, the bonds go down, the NASDAQ and the S&P go down, and that means people are sitting in cash. So you've got to try and work out that balance. You can look at it from an intraday perspective. You can look at it from a higher time frame perspective. It doesn't matter. But try and work out that auction, and then you'll be in line for a good little play. Like now, Euro has made the move up. It's coming down a little bit. Dollar's just experienced a little bit of a drawback. We're looking at cryptocurrency. Ethereum is up 0.73%. Bitcoin is still trading below the 1% mark. We'll get into that very, very shortly. Okay? Looking at where Bitcoin is right now, we'll just jump into it straight away. Why not? We've got this imbalance problem, all right? Now, like I said to you, people are holding on to the idea that Bitcoin can only continue to go higher. So now we're testing the idea of people's grit. Can they hold? And that's why Bitcoin is very, very volatile, because they're just gunning for liquidity. Top side, bottom side, you name it, they're doing it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the Glassnode. And for the first time in a long time, Bitcoin, for the net unrealized profit and losses of those holding Bitcoin, has managed to surpass, if we go zoom in, you can see, for the first time, it's gone into a belief. if you scroll down, you can see that you've got this key right here. The logic says that when it's green and the line is moving up, it implies investors are actually optimistic, or should I say in a belief that things are looking good. They're all excited about things, okay? Now, when we actually zoom out of this, okay, you can see that there's usually a duration of belief when it gets towards that zone. How long will the belief be maintained for? Which usually ends up leading Bitcoin to roll over. Now, what's interesting is when Bitcoin actually hit the 67 mark, okay, the belief wasn't as much as what it was back in the day when Bitcoin hit the 58 zone, okay, which is weird. Why would belief be less at a higher price? You could say there's divergence in the belief mechanism of people, okay? But this is the first time it's actually managed to make its way towards that point. The idea is that as long as people maintain the belief, that means there is interest in crypto. It doesn't mean that the price will continue to go up just because people are in belief of it. This is the perfect time, in my opinion, to start reversing the bad boy, okay? Going into the liquidation points on Bitcoin itself, we've got all of these liquidations for the longs all the way down below here. Look at it. They've already tapped that liquidity. And what usually happens is when you've been watching the high block for a long time, all right, you usually see waves of 3. When they gun for the liquidity, they'll hit the liquidity, reverse back up, make people believe it's all good, and then they come back down and hit some more of the liquidity, okay? Now, what I've been noticing is Euro, when Euro moves up, Bitcoin doesn't, or Ethereum, mainly Ethereum, usually moves down. So let's just look at Euro for a second. Euro's made this nice little move up, okay? Happy days. When we look at Ethereum, sort of made the same move, but it's trending lower, okay? And that, when you're day trading in the Forex markets and you've also got positions open in crypto, you tend to see this. You see that Euro starts moving up, then Ethereum's coming down. Now, there could be a number of reasons as to why that could be happening. You could be seeing guys that are exchanging their dollars and putting it into Euro. You could be getting guys who are like overseas who are like, you know what, I'm going to get rid of my Ethereum because I can get more value on my Euros and change their Ethereum back into Euros or back from dollars. It's all to do with the exchange of currency, okay? And that's the one thing you've got to really pay attention to when it comes to currencies, the ideal of value or perceived value. So we look at the dollar right now and we say to ourselves, okay, where's dollar at? Well, dollar in principle has taken a bit of a tumble with the red vector candle right here. That was a bit of, good little news plays. The logic says that we anticipate that dollar is going to try and recover up towards this red vector candle region and reverse. Now, the markets haven't opened fully yet and they open in 20 minutes time. And if you want me to look at the altcoinage, we need 1,000 likes. That's your payment for today, ladies and gentlemen. You know what the flavor is. Now, with that being said, dollar is appreciated by 3%. So if dollar's appreciated by 3%, that means I can get more euros, okay, on the back of a strong dollar, okay? Now look, euro is trading at the lows, and we've got these 3 consecutive vectors that are appearing at the lows of euro. Now, euro's been taking a smack to the downside, and we're working this green vector candle. And whenever they hit a vector candle on the previous side of the move, they usually complete this sort of behavior. So we've got drop, retrace, drop, retrace, drop, retrace. And all the while, that's happening inside of a previous vector candle range. So this is a big green vector candle. They tap the liquidity, they reverse. Tap the liquidity, reverse. Tap the liquidity, reverse. They can't just slump price because that will scare the markets. So they have to do it in a sequence. And that's why you'll be looking at this saying, okay, do we trade the pattern, which is the rise, the retrace, the continuation, or the drop, retrace, continuation? Your entry points in principle would be, you can either run a short from this point right here, or you can take the short from the break of this range right there. You can run a short from that logic here, or you can take a short on the break of that range right there. When you look at the chart itself, you can say, okay, do we have that structure happening? Drop, drop, retrace, continuation. Drop, retrace, continuation. Drop, retrace, continuation. Rise, retrace, continuation. That's the logic. Now, if this point right here is the point when euro starts to start moving up, then we are ideally looking for a rise, the retrace, continuation out. Because right now they're picking up more euros on the back of a strong dollar because dollar is still appreciated by 3%. So you're getting more euros. That's why euro is aggressively moving up. That's why the news itself showing that the unemployment data came in at 220,000, just shy of 221. That is just as good as in line with expectations. They need to see it either close towards the expectations or at expectations. And this is good news. So we are seeing some interesting plays with the news regarding the employment change. I would have preferred this figure to be 21, okay? Because we need to see more people unemployed to sit in line with what the Fed's trying to do. More importantly, tomorrow's data is going to be the nail in the coffin. If employment rate itself comes in lower than 3.9, we have a problem. If it comes in higher than 3.9, that is wonderful. Then that will mean that everybody is going to be placing bets for the idea that the Fed is going to cut the rates and be aggressive at that as well because the economy is slowing down. All right? Now, with that being said, we've got euro coming back down into the green vector candle region right there. So let's just get rid of this. Happy days. The logic would say that we would be expecting euro to try and initiate a little bit of a bounce from this range. That's what we're looking for. Okay? Now, going into Bitcoin, let's have a look at what we got. So Bitcoin's doing very well to hold out at the top side of this range. Going into the daily time frame itself, go over there, happy days. So we're working vector candles. Remember I said to you to mark off your vectors, top side of the move, go down, and here we are. So Bitcoin has managed to hit that 50% and reverse from it. That would have been a good opportunity to run a couple of longs on that principle, okay? Now, if Bitcoin does come back down again, then they're most likely going to start working the next vector region. So you then need to take another midpoint of the vector, go all the way down to the point of the candle, and look at these 2 points of interest. Now, anyone that's doing DCA would look to load up on Bitcoin, and then it reverses back out, takes some profits. Comes back down again, loads up, moves back up, takes some profits. That's what you're looking at doing with this sort of approach, okay? Now, with that being said, our stablecoin XRP is doing very, very well. It's come back down into the recovery of the blue vector candle blue vector candle on the daily time frame. Going into the 1 hour time frame, we can see that it's not really doing much and it's giving back most of its gains. I'd be expecting XRP at some point to try and recover this wick right here, guys. And that's not even, it's for a stablecoin, it's going to most likely do that given how XRP behaves. Okay. Now, moving on from that bad boy, we're going to go into Solana. So Solana's had a very interesting play as well. So we have got on the 1 hour time frame, trading sideways, psychological range, showing support, try to work above the psychological high, no success there. Daily open support, that's all good, but it looks like what they're going to be doing is they're going to be consolidating price maybe up until the non-farm payrolls. That's what I think is going to happen. We might see a little bit of a flavor to the downside or even to the upside, but I do believe they're going to hold out across the board before the actual non-farm payrolls. And in this move with euro, it could be engineered to come back up if the non-farm employment does come in line with expectations, which will mean that the dollar dominance itself will start to roll over and continue to come down and recover all of these vector points right here. That's what we would be looking for. Because remember, if dollar comes down just below 3%, it's 103, it's still 3% appreciated. So you've got 3% purchasing power extra on your dollars. That's the logic right there. Okay. Now let's go into something more flavorsome. Let's go into the Bookmap. And what we got? Come on, BT. See what we got. Here we go. Right. So we're trading below the VWAP. And it looks like if they cannot surpass the VWAP, then it looks like everything is going to be moving lower today. Why? Because you can see here on the VWAP itself, this white line, right? The interest that we marked off yesterday at the 43 zone. If you look at last night, this whole zone right here is where we should be seeing guys showing an interest. They managed to get towards the VWAP, rejected it around the 43,550. They come down, they come again, couldn't take it at 43,400. Worked above the VWAP at 43,500, and they sold 800 Bitcoin inside of this range at 43,481 to be precise, and they've rejected that zone. So the ideal is that we have got effectively rotation near enough on the VWAP. So that means that they could actually take over the VWAP, go above it, and reach above 43,550 to only come down again. But we will only know that's going to be the case if they can actually get above the VWAP. If they can't get above the VWAP, then there is a strong promise that we could actually start sweeping this liquidity to the downside right here, where we have got 692 Bitcoin orders stacked at the 42,850 zone. This is very important. Now, with that being said, we go over to EXO Charts to put things into perspective. Euro looking like it wants to come back into that good old VWAP. We got the NASDAQ on the left right here looking lively and making that nice move up. Looking at the Ultra bonds. Oh, it's not even working, so we leave that right there. We're looking at, where is it? Bitcoin. Let's pull that bad boy. Here we go. So we got Bitcoin right here on the order flow chart. Is it? It is, or is it the chart itself? Wait for it. Here we go. All right then, cool. So we got Bitcoin, there we are. Look at the VWAP. You see the VWAP right there? You can see that we've got interest inside of this zone to sell from. As you can see, people are buying up at this point. So that would be a logical point for someone, or should I say price, to try and work its way towards to sell from again. But if they're done with the business, then there's a good chance that Bitcoin's going to start working its way down lower and start tapping into these empty shops down here. As you can see, we got, well, it should say zeros, but the profile is very, very low in EXO Charts. You've got 517 buys right there, but it looks like sells, okay? So they're hitting the bids. So, excuse me, take that into consideration when you are seeing Bitcoin working its way down towards those zones, okay? Now, given that we've had this huge news announcements, Bitcoin hasn't really moved, okay? So when we look at the chart from a day trading perspective, you can see 95 down here, over there. You've also got 123 right there. So we would assume that there could be support coming in at these points because there seems to be interest inside of these ranges right here. So if Bitcoin can't surpass this point and hold, then there's a good chance Bitcoin will continue to go lower. We look at the Bookmap and we say, okay, can we justify it? Well, yeah, because there's guys showing an interest down below. So what are we looking for? In principle, we are looking for V-shapes. One V-shape there, and then another V-shape right here. Now, the logic says that if Bitcoin does sweep this liquidity, the guys that went limit buys right here need to make sure they can maintain price and trigger the sellers to start coming in to sell. All right? They sell as they move up. Limit sells above, limit buys below. That's really important to understand when you're looking at the Bookmap, okay? Now, with that being said, let's just go over here. Have a look at that. Dollars come back up. Look at that. It's come straight back up into that midpoint of that vector candle right there. So now we're getting information about this move, whether it was a move to the upside, downside. We're now getting weight as to whether or not this is going to continue to send prices down, or it's just a snapback to effectively bring it back down and euro continues back up because it's now giving back most of its profits, or should I say most of its gains, okay? So always take profits, ladies and gentlemen, in Forex because this is what they do, all right? Now, we've got the snap there. We're waiting for the markets to open, going into Bitcoin. Looks like it's starting to just roll over ever so slightly on the 1 hour time frame. I'm looking at the USDT chart as well. Looks like it's coming up. You see, it's gone back up into that vector candle wick. Remember what we said about this bad boy? We spoke about it only a couple of days ago. So these are the points of history that they could give us clues that they could be coming back to. We've got a nice little structure of a W formation right here on USDT, which means psychologically people are actually now selling their crypto and going back into dollars. All right. If you remember from last night, we looked at this chart. It's currently in a vector candle region. All right. So what do we know about the vector candle zones? We know that when they hit the vectors, drop, retrace, continuation, drop, retrace, continuation. That's exactly what they've got right here. They've already hit the vectors on the previous side of the chart. So we're anticipating retraces back up to initiate the continuation back down again. That's what the logic suggests. All right. Cool. With that being said, go back into BTC. Go into the smaller time frames to understand how this move could be potentially developing. Now, when you're looking on smaller time frames, you've got to say to yourself, well, what do I need to see to justify Bitcoin rolling over? When you see the first red vector candle that breaks the 50 EMA on the 5-minute time frame, that's usually a clue that things are going to start changing, all right? So you can see that we're seeing a lot of that. Comes back down, breaks, but it's got the 200 EMA as support. You want to make sure that when you see the red vector candle break the 50 EMA when price is above, that they can actually surpass the 200 EMA, okay? Now, they came into the 200, violet vector candle come into play, brought price back up, but couldn't sustain, and then they've come back down again. We look left and we right, and you can see First red vector candle that breaks the 50 EMA was right here, okay? If you can see that. Happy days. The 200 EMA is close. So that means there's no volatility. So there's compression in the moving averages. Happy days, all right? By the block trade principle, a couple of the guys would have been able to exploit this bad boy this morning, okay? So it's now moved down aggressively. Where are we at now? Well, we are right now at the 50 EMA with the 800 EMA acting as an area of support, okay? We've got the 200 EMA up here, which could be a stop run zone. The daily open hasn't been tested. To justify that's going to be the case, Bitcoin needs to get back up above the VWAP, okay? But when we're looking at the scope of things, it looks like that might take a little while before they do that. You want to see them sweep the liquidity. We got one hit down here, 1,680 Bitcoin. Down here, you got 795 Bitcoin. Up here, it's not as much, 297. So is the selling off slowing down, or are they buying as it's dropping and it's getting less pressure as such? So we've got to wait until the VWAP establishes itself. If you don't see it systematically, you're going to end up taking trades on fear of missing out, which is what they're televising and writing about, saying that people don't want to miss out on the move. We've just seen a nice little order up there, 168 Bitcoin orders. Fair enough. But my bias is that if Bitcoin cannot sustain above the 50 EMA on the 5-minute time frame short term, we're expecting them to roll over, okay? The only way that we can validate that Bitcoin can continue higher and clear the daily open and end up positive for the day is if they can get above this VWAP right here, which sits above the 43,450, and then trend away from the VWAP. Why? Because then that means that all the limit sales here, the limit buys inside of this range right here will get triggered to show support. And then that's where they will be forcing price to lift the ask and engage aggressive buyers to come in to then mark price to the upside. That's how we logically approach the charts, okay? What we got going on in the chat? Hold on. Here we go. It's almost like Max Payne would be just running away over 50K and then correcting back to 20s. Yeah. And then who? Fuck that guy, man. Fuck that guy. Weak guy. Anyways, altcoins, what we saying? MATIC. Most people don't understand the concept of buying the dip. It's all about buying digital assets, and when their prices are down, they're selling off, price rises. Thus, holding is very profitable. There's always going to be the you should hold, you should sell, you should hold. You know what? It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. If you've made money on a trade or on a holding position, take it. There's no victory in holding on to a profitable play to only give it back. The goal was to make a profit. So if you've made a profit, take it. If you start allowing I could make more, then you're only going to give it back. That is simple as that. Tino, I like scalping super on the 1 minute time frame because of its percentage gains, and there's some resemblance of a pattern. What tools would you use for fast in, fast out EXO charts? All right, listen, if you're going to, okay, in my honest opinion, if you're going to scalp smaller time frames, you want to be hitting the futures markets, and you really want to be trading on depth of market. That's it. Okay, so this is just a challenge account that I'm going to try and get past today, and let's do this. Hold on. Where's my thing? Let's do that one. 58. All right. Here's an example. I've shown you guys this before. This is on the Euro futures. Okay. So Euro futures right now. This is the demo account. This is for educational purposes only. Okay. But what we've got right now is you've got the profile working the lows of the range. Okay, so they've swept the liquidity lower at 107.65. Okay, now you can see right now that the bids are being taken off, which tells me that there's pressure on the ask. Okay, so they could be marking lower. So I'm going to try and take a scalp on that principle. Okay, now you can see there's no spreads. All right, just my entry point And I can see that, okay, if the ask is going to start dominating, then we should see prices coming down, okay? But look at how quick you can maneuver in and out of the trades. In. There you go. Done. Do I think it's going to go up? Okay. Fast in, fast out. There we go. Here we go. Gone, taking a long. Cool. What do we have? Can we see a little bit of a push right there? The ask is being pulled right now, so bids should be coming up. Fine. 100 on the bids, 24, 37. They want to mark it up. Cool. Happy days. Keep going, Euro. Can you initiate the move up? We're working in this profile. See, these guys want to sell up here. And there's an imbalance on the ask and the bids. Okay. Oh, they're coming back down. Let's just bank a bit of profit. Happy days. Let's try again. Let's see. They're minus 18. I want to pull that. 156 could be sold off at that point. So I've got to be careful if I decide to run along from this point and suggest to myself maybe they hit that and then come back down again. Okay. So I can see there's light on the profile. We've got the VWAP right there and the point of control. So then when you're playing this logic, and this is not even on the time, there's no time frame for this. This is just literally scalping order flow. Okay, we'll try and do it again. Let's see what we can do. Pulling on the ask. Okay, so we're going to try and assume that they can try and clear up a little bit, get some more on the bid side, bid up. Here we go. Come on. Make that flavor some move. Come on. Do it. You're only looking to risk about 2-3 ticks at a time. Now, you can imagine when you're risking 2-3 ticks, okay, 3 ticks loses me $100. 3 ticks gains me $100. Euro, look, 35 on the ask right there. So someone's just loaded up. Okay, cool. Now they're pulling off the ask. Okay, so we've got $31 right there. Cool. If I close off, happy days. Now I want to try and make a little bit more. So we're going to wait and see. Can they just flush out the liquidity and mark up? Bitcoin moving up right now, as you can see. Look at that. 200 EMA. We're going to assume that Euro can follow suit. It's up 0.16. We've got Ethereum moving up at 94. Went from 64 to now 0.94%. That's all good. We've got the market opening in the next 2 minutes. So I'm trading the volatility of the marketplace. 48.5. Here we go. I want to see those 107s get hit. Here we go. Bang. $100. Let's try again. Cool. So now we're going to wait and see on the open of the market. Are they going to move away from this profile to try and work towards the top side of this? Okay, I'm going to take the gamble and go for it. Here we go. Can we see it? Here we go. 114 on the ask. 107. They're pulling. They're pulling on the bid. So I don't really want to see that. That's not good. 43 on the ask. The market's going to open in the next minute. I'm trading the volatility of the market open. Here we go. Can we see it? Come on. Make the move. What I'm trying to show you here, guys, is just how quick you can enter and exit when you're trading futures markets. All right? Like now, I'm going to show you an article that Robinhood now is offering 0 fees on cryptocurrency to trade cryptocurrency over there. All right? But you've got to be careful with that, just in case there's wide spreads on the price difference from when you open your order. That's where they're going to try and effectively squeeze you. Okay? Let's see. Look, it's holding. Wait for the market. I'm waiting for the market to open. It's 29. I'm waiting for it's 28 actually. I'm just going to wait for the market to open on the logic. See now, look, what's happening now, right? There's someone holding the bids, okay, and not allowing it to go lower, right? So the ask just come in and now they've just taken off. You see the minus figures if you can, all right? And the minus figure right there tells me that the ask doesn't want to offer there. It wants to probably offer a little bit higher up. But someone is holding inside of this range right now because it's not ticking down or ticking lower. There's someone trying to hold price here. The logic is they're going to try and sweep up to this area here, which is the VWAP at 552. These are low volume nodes. The idea is you want to see a flush up of liquidity to mark price up. So we've got 45. Here we go. 33. Market should be opening now. Here we go. 40 seconds or so. Pulling on the ask. 85 right there. And all the while, whilst this is happening, guys, we're looking on EXO Charts. Zoom out. Pick up Euro. We got a test of the VWAP. So I'm sustained in my idea that they're going to want to try and mark up price and encourage some buyers to step in at this point right here. So we're going to work that zone right there. Here we go. Let's see if they can do it at the market open. So there's going to be an influx of volume coming in very, very shortly, which could snap back down and hit me with a bit of a drawdown. But we're going to wait and see if they can do that. Look, they're pulling on the ask and adding to the bid and pulling away as well. And the importance of pulling and stacking is there's someone that wants to step in and get his orders filled. If they're pulling, here we go. So the market's now open. Futures market's open. They're now going to see the information. There should be some optimism coming in. Price should be moving up. They're pulling away from the ask right now. Happy Days going to see a little bit of an influx going into the VWAP. That's what we want to see. They're pulling back a little bit. That's not good for me. I'm still in my window of loss as such. I'm happy to take that. Here we go. Come on. Make the move. Don't pull. There we go. And this should lead to a little bit of a push up with the activity on the auction right here. This is what's really important about it. You want to see it getting busy. And when it's busy moving up, that means there's support. If it's busy coming down, then it means that they're trying to force prices lower. So you're looking for the ratio between buying and selling and how aggressive it is at that. Come on, make the move. I'm going to try and get rid of that as a quick loss. I mean, a quick gain. And that's me placing a target profit. And that's me placing a stop loss. Look how quick that is. Okay. And that's the benefit of trade. I just want to wait for this to get into a profitable position at least. Come on. To prove the point. There we go. Make the move. Go into the VWAP, which is at 552. Make the break higher. Coming into this range. Can we do it? 3, 2, 1. Make it. Sweep. Sweep. Come on. You're 133. There was a spoof there. Come on. Make it up. Off you go. Make the move, man. There she is. I'll take that. Cool. And it's going to go. All right. But I'm a bit conscious of doing that. So that's when you're trading time frames, right? You're then going to say to yourself, okay, let me go do that with crypto. Yeah? So you say you're trading on super because of the high percentage gains. Well, that means you're going to have to use small size because of how aggressive it moves. Because if you catch the trade on the wrong side, you're done. You know? What we got here? What we got? Where we going? Bit too old to digest. Anyways, looking onto Bitcoin, we've got this little move right here. Daily open. It looks like those boys are going to start coming into play right now. The VWAP, here it is. Here's the test of the VWAP. Now, if Bitcoin can sustain this, it's yippee-ki-yay up, shift out. If they can sustain this. Otherwise, if the sellers start coming in at this point, it rolls over. All right? So take that into consideration. 25% on the sales right here. So the limit sales are coming in. So that means sellers are actively coming into this. Aggressive buyers are coming in. So we should see a sweep of liquidity up. We want to see Bitcoin sweep up to come into the VWAP. And hopefully these orders cancel. But as long as these orders stay in this area here, then they're points of interest for Bitcoin to go to later. So take that into consideration. Here we go. Are we going to see that move? We've got a block trade principle coming into play right now. Here we go. Let me just clear this. Where are we at? I want the daily open, man, because they've done well to hold this point. They need to try and sustain that range and break higher. So this is what I was talking about with Robinhood. Robinhood launches commission-free crypto trading app in Europe. Be careful of the spread. What do I mean? So if you were to buy Bitcoin right now, because on Mexi or Bybit or Binance, when you buy Bitcoin leverage, you don't pay a spread. You're getting straight in at the price. Whereas with Robinhood, you could buy Bitcoin 43,417. They offer you the ask and in principle the bid. And the spread in there, in order for your position to be profitable, it would need to surpass where your entry was by covering the spread. So if anyone is going to use Robinhood for that trading purpose, just make sure you keep an eye out on that, all right? Because if you use size, then you're effectively going to, you're going to see a spread that's going to be painful, okay? So just keep that in mind, okay? Here we go. Are we going to see it? I think we are, you know. I think we are going to see it. Let me just zoom out here. So Euro spiked up on that point. Bitcoin on the 30-minute time frame going into the VWAP. So that's the new session VWAP itself. I've got an imbalance zone up here. So ideally, if they're going to mark above that, sales could be triggered at that point. So we've got to be careful of that. Imbalance coming in. Here we go. It's going to go for it, I think. Zooming out. This is on the 30-minute time frame. You got imbalance up here at 43.8. And you got these imbalances. I mean, look, Bitcoin just needs to surpass the VWAP on the book flow, on the Bookmap, to really suggest that it's going to start clearing that range. Hi, Tina. Is a W formation valid if it makes a triple bottom? Yes, it is. Okay? It is valid. Why? Because it's a triple bottom. Look, a W formation is a variation of a double bottom. Yeah, that's all it is. All this is a double bottom. All right? It's the best way. But it's how it becomes one. All right? You've got to look at the logic and understanding of what this pattern is. So short sellers get marked down, right? they get encouraged to go short. And you see that by, for God's sake, you see that by red vector candles to the downside, right? Justify it. Red vectors right here. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Once you've got those, you know that short sellers are trapped. And what's above that? Margins. Cool. So liquidation points. That's liquidity. Remember, market maker. He's borrowing money to people because this is all done on open interest in principle. You borrow money from the exchange. 100x leverage. Happy days. That's being planted because you can't make any money off. You're not making money off Binance or Bybit. Bybit, Binance, Mexi, they're the intermediaries. They facilitate the transaction. They need market makers' liquidity to match up your position, to allow continuous smooth flow in the marketplace. That's how the business works. And if people don't think that's how the business works, you are the sell liquidity. Simple as. That's how it operates. Where are you getting your profit from? So when you make $100 profit, you're taking market makers' liquidity. And that's the deal that he gave with the exchange. He gives you the ability to go short and go long. When the profit's there, you're taking his liquidity, not Binance's, not Bybit's. They're the intermediary. They allow the transaction to occur. So you're basically going against the bookie. You got a big pool of liquidity on the right. You got your capital on the left. You want 100x leverage. Cool. You put $10 in. You're representing 100. Happy days. Okay? You need that offset by market maker. And that goes throughout all of the altcoins and Bitcoin when you're trading it on futures. So when you look at the live order flow, you say to yourself, hold on a second. Look at this, 17 million, 88 million, 82. Behind all of these sells are buys, okay? But you can't be irrational. The market can. You can always say to yourself, well, how, when does the market maker make his money? He makes his money on the middle of the price, man. Look, we go into it. Bookmap. He makes his money off the bid and the ask inside, okay? And if there's spreads, he's having a dream. Now we're going over the VWAP. Happy days. So what are we looking for? We're looking for these orders to get cleared. We don't want these orders to be present. We want them to be removed. And we want them to come up higher because we're now going into this range right here where there's going to be interest. Now, sales are coming in, 118 Bitcoin. If they can sustain this and clear it, that's good news. Look, it's a spoof. They canceled it. Look, they're taking liquidity off. So retails have just stepped in. Now it's disappeared. You just witnessed a spoof. It's a fake order. Comes in to induce the market, gets pulled. Markets should be going up. Here we go. It's coming in again. And this is what we use. We need to understand this because if they're going to go into rotation on the VWAP and drop from here, they need to drop now. But if they can sustain this and mark higher, then we will go above the VWAP to try and test into it. You're getting a better chance of a trading opportunity when price breaks above the VWAP and comes back into it, rather than having to try and work out now if now's the time to go long, because you could make the long, it goes up, and then it comes back down to your entry, and it could collapse from that point. Better to see them make the move above, wait for them to retrace, and then continue to try and take advantage of the trade. That's the logic right there. Okay. What else we got? Don't miss this on Pancake Spooks. Yeah, I'm not going to read that. I end up reading the wrong bloody thing. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, quickly going through some altcoins. Solana trying to hold out. Ethereum up 1%, about time. Going back into the vectors, little structure of a W pattern right there. W formation, rise, retrace, continuation out to the upside. That would be the logic itself. Euro's taken a tumble. It's gone beyond that point, okay, coming potentially into that wick, so that's very interesting. Dollar dominance seems to be coming into play right now, holding out in that zone. Let me just check the bonds market. Bonds market starting to mark up, which means NASDAQ, well, look at that. NASDAQ's coming sharply back to the upside. We know what the flavor is with NASDAQ. It's made a nice move away from the VWAP itself, so we're going to be anticipating some retraces back down into the VWAP for the S&P and the NASDAQ. Volatility index is not really looking nice. Hold on a second. Here we go. So volatility index is not really trending anywhere. It's just holding out. And I wonder what that guy who's made that trade of $2 million betting that the volatility index is going to hit 180. What a guy. What a guy. 180 means catastrophic events, ladies and gentlemen. That's the fact. Okay. Now, going into the bonds itself, they're climbing up. US bonds, which means the yields are going down. That's good news. So it means that risk effectively is on. People are buying right now, but remember, when they're buying, they're being sold into at the highest point, okay? So take that into consideration when you're looking at your trades. What I usually like to pay attention to is Tesla. When Tesla starts to make a move, if it starts to become aggressive with its moves, that usually follows on suit in the marketplace. So Tesla's got this green vector candle we would expect them to come back into at this point, right? So if there's a sell-off on Tesla, that's usually going to be mimicked in the marketplace. That would logically say that the S&P and the NASDAQ are probably going to come down by the end of the day if Tesla trades negative. Why? Because it's a big market cap. But you can see things are all over the place in the market. NVIDIA is up 1%. Okay, and Tesla's down 0.5%. Amazon is up 1.3%. Meta is up 1.8%. All right, so we know that the tech market is killing it right now, right? Going into gold. Go over to gold, not doing much. Trading sideways, great for scalpers, but right now it ain't doing anything, okay? Bitcoin, see where Bitcoin's at. Doesn't seem to be holding. It does not seem to be holding. I'm looking for it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Hold on a second. Let me go over here. Any options been open today? Okay, then. So we've had some options favoring 42K by December. Okay. So most of the options markets are actually looking at Bitcoin. I mean, it's quite far away, but most of the options are suggesting Bitcoin 54,000. It's gone up from 50. Selling calls, okay. So that options is it's a little bit mixed, if I'm honest with you. All right, then. Altcoins, DYDX. Let's have a look. DYDX USDT. Where are we at? Here we go. DYDX. Most altcoins in principle, I mean, AMP tokens made a big move up. Let me just have a look on my altcoin list. All right, Smooth Love Potion, 20%. That is crazy. Moving up. XPR, Proton, making nice big moves up. GALA's made a 7% move, and that is classic rise, retrace, continuation out. We've got KAVA coming into play as well at 6%, breaking the range daily high as well. Remember what we said about the altcoins? Go to the total market cap, see where we are right there. Let's get rid of all this. Okay, so the market cap itself for the altcoins is a little bit choppy. Most altcoins are at the 50 EMA waiting to hold out if they can sustain higher prices. Altcoins that are right now above the 50 EMA, you want to pay attention to. So GALA is above the 50 EMA but trending upwards. KAVA itself, nice move by KAVA. It's still continuing to make a move up, clearing the previous range right there. That's good news for us. SXP, 39 cents, making a nice flavorsome move right there. Curve. We've got choppiness right there. It's all very choppy on the altcoins. I'm looking for the bold moves. Super's still consolidating. You'll find it when... Let me just see something again. Hold on. Solana's down. ETH there. Bitcoin futures still holding out. Euro still coming back down. That's all good. BNB side. It's a shocking day. I genuinely think today they're going to hold the market, right, for the non-farm payrolls. That's fact. That's what I'm going to be looking at. GALA breaking out, GALA breaking out. Big time. Let's have a look at big time. Where are we at? Hold on. Big time USDT. Okay, then. Have a look at MXC. Because it's an altcoin, if they can maintain the volatility from this point. Now, remember, look, range daily high, range daily low. It's quite close. So there's a good chance they could break above that. All right, so take that into consideration. But when you're trading this, look towards the top side of the vectors where you can see an imbalance. That's an imbalance in principle, all right? Logic says that they're going to try and take that. Now, just because they may try and take that doesn't mean that they're going to go and take it and continue. They could mark it all the way back up towards that point to effectively build positions again, to roll over, back down again. Why? Because that move would then be sustained with vectors coming up to the upside. That's all you're doing. The same way they did it here. Look, they made the move up. You're thinking about structure here. How can you anticipate foresight if you can't see it in hindsight, right? Make the move up. They come back down. They come and clear the wick, which is that stop in volume candle, hit that zone, reversal to the downside, come back into the recovery of the vectors right there. This pattern continuously repeats itself over and over again. You've just got to try and find the asset that works for you so you can exploit it. Going into LOOM. I remember LOOM. Let's actually look at LOOM. LOOM network. Here we go. All right, look. This thing is nuts. All right, so the same structure is happening right now. We've got the move to the upside, right? Happy days. So what are we waiting for? We're effectively waiting for a blowout candle, drop, retrace, back down to recover the vectors. That's what LOOM is looking at trying to create right now. You can look left and say we're going into previous vectors, but they seem to repeat the same process over and over again. Look, they do it all the time. Move up, come down, retrace, roll over. Okay? The ideal is not whether or not it's going to be correct. It's a probability trade. That's the truth. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you've lost the least amount of money. If it works, you've at least have made some returns that are meaningful. That's what you're looking for. A meaningful return. You're not looking to put the house down. That's what a lot of people get messed up with when they're trading. So yeah, there's an airdrop tomorrow. Over $5 million worth of tokens. And then they airdrop 17 more weeks in a row, same amount of tokens. Be safe out there. Okay, that makes sense. Tino, can you check MYRIA? It's about to fly. MYRIA, okay. Here we go. Where's that on? Here we are. It's about to fly. Well, it's been flying. Now, the same logic that we just spoke about could be actually happening on a bigger time frame. They've made the move up, come back down, swept the liquidity, come down, marked, and now they look like they're following suit to come down to the 800 EMA where there is a little imbalance. Again, cheaper coins will always experience these fluctuations, so take that into consideration. Which depth of market chart do you use? VWAP rejected by Bitcoin. Hold on a second. I'll answer those two questions. Okay, so VWAP is being rejected. Here we go. So this is important. Now, look. If the VWAP's being rejected, look what's going on. This is important. See here that we marked off this zone as area of interest for limit buys. Look what's going on now. Limit buys are coming into play. So they could be trying to hold out on this point. Again, there's no trade until you are given a reason to believe there is one. And you're looking at the basis of order flow right here. We're at the VWAP. Historically, VWAP tells you the volume weighted average price. All right? You're not just thinking about the VWAP. You're thinking about what's happening at the VWAP. That's what's important. Institutional hedge fund managers, they sell above the VWAP. They buy below it. You're now trying to work out if there is a rotation or a trend in the VWAP. What do we mean by that? Quite simply, this. Here is Bitcoin. We're trying to work out now if Bitcoin, here's the VWAP, right? If price goes above it, comes down, 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 some would say that that is a trend because it's moving lower, correct, but it's a rotation on the VWAP because sometimes you can actually get the VWAP where it's like this, and price goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That's rotation. When you've got a trend, it means that the VWAP is pointing lower and price cannot get back into it and it just trades below it. Okay? This is where we are right now on Bookmap. We're now trying to establish if this behavior here, where it's trading below the VWAP, is going to sustain itself in this range. That's what we're looking for. Now we're seeing a lot of commitments, 689 at 42,850. And ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's 20% off on the Traders Reality website. In the description is the coupon code Santa to get 20% off everything on there. There's a free course on there, which you can use the discount code to get access to. There's a paid one, but don't do the paid one unless you've done the free course, because the free course breaks everything down for you, okay? You must do the free course. That goes without saying. No point if you don't understand the hybrid system, okay? And there's on the info tab, talks you through how to get through everything in terms of how to download the hybrid system indicator, your settings and what have you, and put two and two together to make decisions for yourself, okay? So go check out tradersreality.com and you should be all good to go. Now, with that being said, let me just quickly go and have a look at the liquidations that are coming into play right now on Bitcoin. Here we go. So a couple of buys coming in at this point. There's liquidations up there, but I think they're going to gun for the shorts, man. They're going to go for the long liquidation points. That's what I'm thinking, because this move is just, it's at the 50 EMA. It's whether it's going to go or not. Here's a little bit of a strategy for you. Look, all you need to do, mark off 50 EMA line right there, mark off the 50 EMA line right there, and you're trading both of those extremes. That's you can simplify trading as much as you want. Because if Bitcoin can surpass above the 50 EMA cloud right here, it's recovering the vectors, you're justifying the move to the upside. If it can't sustain that and it's still within the cloud and then it starts to work its way down towards this point, you can then assume that it's going to start working its way back into the vector candles. Again, don't force no trade, ladies and gentlemen. Don't force it. Let it give you the reason to get in. And you'll notice that by the speed of the way the candles operate, okay? That's where it's really important you focus on that. Okay, what else have we got? SNX, please. Let's have a look at SNX. What time are we on? Oh, my days. I'm going a little bit longer than I need to be. Bloody hell. Okay, 3.7, $3.70, trading sideways again. But like I said to you all, this is what we're waiting for. That's all we're waiting for, the news. And that's probably what's going to happen. Because if they're going to run for profit tomorrow, they'll mark prices up again. That's what I think. All right, if we get any volatility today. If we don't get any volatility today, then it's done. We're waiting for the news. And then it will just be quiet across the board. But 3 p.m. is due to start, which is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard. That could be a deciding thing. You know? Okay, can you check Doge? Here we are. Dogecoin. 0.09. There's no activity happening. There's literally nothing happening right now. The only things that are moving, I mean, Jasmine's taken a bit of a tumble to the downside. Doge, look, any vectors you see on the altcoins, they could come back and hit these points, come back and recover them, and then come back into the range. That's where you've got to pick your environment to trade as well. So important. You know, if you're just hoping for hit home runs, then it's not going to last for you, ladies and gentlemen. XRP, trading negatively. MATIC, let's have a look at MATIC. So far, MATIC, it's a slow burner, this bad boy. But again, consolidations, not really doing much. If I'm looking at the profile of both, I mean, let me just have a look at MATIC for a second. There's Ethereum right here. This is Ethereum's order flow. If I zoom out on Ethereum, here we go. Ethereum's moving above the VWAP, which is good news for us. Zoom out. Zoom out again. All right, we've got ourselves a little sell wall over here on Ethereum. Right there. So lots of sells are coming into play right now with Ethereum, which is why it's marking up. We're seeing imbalance of minus 10%. So this is a sell wall right here. It's gone above the VWAP, but look at this, man. These guys are holding out 5,068 Ethereum contracts. Down at 2,249. And there's a big commitment right there. Got to be very careful with this. Market is still all good. 3 p.m. It looks like it's a swing. Going to Bitcoin. It's doing well, man. It's doing well. We could get that daily open, guys. And hopefully that liquidity doesn't get taken. Where is it? Oh, no. Yeah, we don't want that liquidity. Look, it's disappearing. It's starting to go. So we're getting the confirmation now. They've hit the VWAP, come down. They've now managed to succeed above it. And that's 109 Bitcoin. No, 415 Bitcoin on that bubble right there. And then this one is 290. So the more Bitcoin comes into transaction here, then we can assume they're going to keep marking prices higher and encourage these guys down here to say, you know what? I'm not interested at getting filled at that point. I want to get filled up a little bit higher if it decides to start pulling back again. Take that into consideration when you're using this Bookmap. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, let me hold on. I want to know what people are talking about with this stupid coin. It's not a stupid coin, but it's just a crazy coin. It's a crazy coin. I said it. Look. All right, then. This coin, man, just be careful when you're trading it, man. How do you make sense of that? Every time you see an altcoin that has these moves up and down, right? Use the vector candles to determine imbalances, right? That's an imbalance. That's an imbalance. Look right, and you can see imbalance up, they come down to it. Imbalance up, down to it. Imbalance up, they're coming down to it. Take the midpoint of the vector candle itself to justify where they're likely to find support or not, and play the game. This is a game. That's all it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's just a game. It's the hardest, easiest way to make money. That's facts. Okay, so take that into consideration. You know what? I'll look at that one more time. What is this? Let me just look at it. Let me just do this. Because I've seen this about, man. All right, here we go. BONK. You can't, like, you can't. What do you say to coins like this? What do you say? Yeah, we might slate the altcoins in a sense where you got to be careful and what have you. But you can't blame people. Like, look at this. How long ago was this listed? Let's go on the higher time frames. Back into the recovery of the wick or what? Look at that. Look, guys, just be careful with this. All right? Already it's light on volume. Look at the price. This is just for the volatility hunters. All right? You make profit on a move like this, take it. Get ready for the next move lower. Simple. All right? And if you've got a bag and you're holding this, then it doesn't matter what we say. You know, you're hoping that it's going to continue high. It can come all the way back down again. All right? But just take this into consideration when you're looking at these crazy ass coins. Okay? ORDI, here we go. ORDI, here we go. All right, so a recently listed coin, from what I understand, and we've got consolidation. All right, trading sideways, go to the 1 hour time frame, sideways action. Who's bringing the movement? Ethereum, nice. Nice flavor with Ethereum so far. It's stuck to the plan, so we're good for Ethereum. Happy days, rise, retrace, continuation out on the W. Come back into the vector candle region right there. That's good news. We're now waiting for Bitcoin to follow the same suit. Going into the daily open. Let's just quickly go back into EXO Charts for a split second. Here we go. Gone back up above the VWAP. That's what we want. We want to see them going into the imbalance. There's that imbalance zone that they took right there where we would anticipate a bit of selling to happen, but we ain't seeing it yet. So they should clear that range. Give it a second. We should see some more deltas coming into play to assume that people are now stepping in, feeling like they're missing out on a move higher, but they could be selling. So we've got to be careful here. We ain't seeing the commitment just yet. We want to see the same thing here happening here. Okay? So we want to wait and see if Bitcoin can do it because Ethereum's doing it. There we go. Give me the deltas. Come on. Start marking up. Give me aggressive behavior. 8,000 on the volume, which is more than what the previous candle was, which is good news for us. Okay, so we've got movement up, a trend in the delta. So let's see if they can actually sustain this point. The next point of interest would be, there we go. No deltas just yet. And what you're doing here is you're using the candlestick and profiling its characteristic of the bids and the ask. You're trying to work out if there's aggressive buyers coming in at this point, if they're auctioning it higher. The better the auction in the bids or the ask, the direction is going to maintain itself. So if aggressive buyers are coming in, they're going to sell into those buyers and keep marking prices higher and higher because the guys that have been hitting the bids down here have been loading up passively on longs. And now we're looking at the aggressive guys to come in, step in so that those passive sellers are going to step in and be like, look, let me just slowly take some profits as it's rising up by encouraging the guys who are buying aggressively. Look, we're not seeing it just yet. Okay, we really want to see the same flavor that we've got here on Bitcoin appear here. Okay, because at the top side of the candle, we need to see that influx of liquidity coming in because we said that this area is an area that they sell from. So it looks like they're maintaining that, but we just need to wait and see. If they can hold out in here and there's no negative deltas at the top side of this move, then it can assume that they're not selling from that point or buying, for the better word. Okay, but it looks like the delta's holding out. We're seeing, look, it's controlled. They're holding price, coming down a little bit. We have 349 Bitcoin orders right there. They might come back to test this point to hold. Remember, this is the tick chart, ladies and sorry, the 30-minute time frame. And we're looking at very small movements in price. If you look at Bitcoin's price right here, it's not that great. And this is on the 5-minute time frame, okay? So we're looking to see if they can hold. Look, 349. If anyone transacts at that point, we assume that there's going to be support in this range. Here we go. We want to see 349 transact, not 123. So they're holding out. You really want to see them hold out this point. And when you're using EXO Charts, this is what you're going to be thinking about when you're watching these candlesticks. Simple. That's what you're going to be thinking about. How is the profile behaving? Because that's going to help you work out if they're buying or selling. Simple. Here we go. 349. Here we go. All right. So they didn't transact to that point. But look, you see that? That next candle saw a little bit of an influx down, but it looks like they're trying to see, because they didn't transact there, that's good enough for me. Now we've got the guys coming in. So now we're seeing a cluster of orders coming in this area here. So what you're doing now, guys, when you're watching the bid and the bid and the ask, again, it's the auction between who's buying, who's selling, who's doing more of what. And when you're marking off a specific area here and focusing on it, you're going to build the profile in your mind and say, it looks like the ask, which is the greens right here, they seem to be struggling to mark price higher. Well, if I want to take longs, I've got to be careful that this zone is not an area above the VWAP where they could sell from. So I've got to be careful with this one. I've got to wait and see. Can I justify a move out? Will that tell me that the aggressive buyers in here want to see higher prices? Okay? Because in order to encourage aggressive buyers, there has to be sellers up here prepared to sell. So they're going to make sure that they get their better value for money. Now look at this. They're holding out. I'm building a profile. Is Bitcoin going to break this point and create the influx of liquidity that we need to see higher prices? So I'm waiting. Here we go. I'm starting to see it now. Look, no one's really selling from this point. We could get a volatile move very shortly. Mark up. They're not taking the range just yet. I need to see it happen. And this is what's going through your mind. You're profiling the idea of, is this point going to be a sell point, or is this point going to be a point that they actually move aggressively from? Because when they move away from this zone, when price moves up, you're then going to ask yourself if this is a point of support, because that's where the activity started again. Okay? So then when price breaks away from that point and hypothetically does this, breaks up, comes back into it, you're going to know, based on your understanding of price action at this point in time and the relationship between the bid and the ask, if they mean business. That's what you do with EXO. That's what I do with EXO Charts. I'm continuously looking at it, trying to understand the flow of money in and out. If there's lots of guys buying, that means there's guys selling. And it's going to get up to a point when the guy selling might actually slow down. Okay, here we go. So we've got the move. Happy days. They're marking up. So we've got interest. 122 right there. So someone stepped in. That's going to encourage more people to step in. We'll look left. And this is on the 30-minute time frame. I use the tick charts. So this is time-based. I don't like time-based charts. I like to look at the ticks. Where are we at? I'll keep it on the 30-minute time frame just in case it takes a while to load. But the next nearest point of interest in the chart, you're looking for the point where they're going to transact aggressively. This zone right here, 43,700. The logic says that at that price point, there's going to be people at that point where they're going to sell or buy, because it's the only next significant zone in the chart. They tried to come back into it. They failed because price broke down and dropped from that point, okay? Now, if we look at where price is right now, look left, you can see we got 210 up there. So now we might have a wall. A wall for them to go into. Here we go. If I did that in time, we would have had that logic. Here we are. There she goes. So now we've just profiled the logic. We want to see them go to that point. Why? 163 players up there before they lost interest. Let's see if they can get that interest again. Why? Because the market's got good memory. That person put 163 Bitcoin contracts, lot sizes, orders. We're going to see if they're going to mean business to come in again. Okay? When you're doing this, understanding the bid and the ask is going to be the deciding factor as to whether or not you should take a trade. And that's without even understanding. That's a vector candle. Without even knowing it's a vector. It's a vector candle. Daily open coming into play. Happy days. Now people, how many people took that long on that logic? Yeah, I'm going to look at AMP, man. Forget it. I'll look at AMP. There's your AMP. Hold on. Sorry. There's AMP. There we go. Quite an aggressive move up. It's in consolidation zone. Happy days. Red vector wick at the top side. If cryptocurrency sustains this move to the upside, it's all systems go for AMP to get above that 45 zone. All right? All right then. Cool. No worries. Ladies and gentlemen, mad love and respect. Thank you very much. Sorry I've kept you too long today, so I'll be checking in with you all later on tonight. All right? A little lesson on EXO Charts for you. Take care of yourselves, gang. Mad love. Peace.